Yeah, what's going on, guys? I'm going to be going over today's trade recap, what I ended up taking on my fund did today. I ended up taking one trade today, and I ended up hitting full TP on this trade. This was a pretty textbook trade, so we're going to get into that. A plus model to the dome. Very nice. Very, very nice. Very good. Very amazing. So, coming into today, honestly, I had a mixed bias, right? Now, if we look at the higher time frame, right, as you can see, we have. Sorry, let me pop. Where's the. I don't know why that wasn't on there for a second. Cool. So coming into today, if I just go to the 50 minutes just to show you, we had some amazing draws higher, right? So Asia session left a failure swing. This was on Monday, by the way. Left a failure swing to Asia over here. New York previous day high, so not previous day high, but New York session high from yesterday left a failure swing to Asia. And what do we have above all of this is this massive new week opening gap, right? Completely unfilled. So technically, failure swing to new week opening gap, failure swing on top of failure swings, right? So super, super good draws higher, excellent draws higher. But just from like as the higher time frame and what it's been doing, we were technically looking a bit bearish, right? Don't mind this Diddy candle, that was before this. But what are we doing on the higher time frame? We are disrespecting bearish, as you can see. If we go to like the 4 hour. I'm sorry. No, was it the 1 hour I was looking at? Anyway, it just looks overall a little bit bearish, right? Because we disrespected bearish gaps. So on the 15-minute, we were disrespecting these bearish gaps. We were making moves lower. We were respecting higher time frame key levels, so respecting hourly gaps, making moves lower. Pretty simple stuff. I guess it's not really because this kind of leg here is a bit chopped because it's just failure swings. But yeah, like overall, coming into what the overnight session did was it was making moves lower, right? So what we ended up doing is in the overnight session, I ended up coming into this unmitigated 4-hour fair value gap down here, right? So we ended up sweeping out these lows here and then tapping into this unfilled 4-hour. But just overall on the higher time frame, like the only thing we could have really went for were these lows down here, which are unprotected. So these unprotected lows. I think this is a weekly low, so that could have been a potential draw for today. But what I set, because again, I already went over how we could have been bullish because of these insane draws that we have higher here. What I set for today was, so this is 8. This is what 9. Okay, cool. So boom, we had this unmitigated 15-minute fair value gap that we opened pre-market. So pre-market made an excellent condition, right? So even though we did just sweep out London session liquidity and technically rejected off a higher time frame key level, being that unmitigated 1 hour, or I don't think this was unmitigated. No, it wasn't unmitigated, but we reswept the high inside of the 1 hour, and then technically we rejected. But overall, the reason why I wasn't bearish from this was because we still had this, and because of what I just said with the draws being higher and blah blah blah. Cool. So with this in mind, my condition was now this 15-minute fair value gap. If we were going to be bearish, I would want to see price show signs of disrespecting or inversing this gap. So it was either looking like this, right? This is what I want to see. It was like this, then this, or something like this, this, or if we were going to be bearish, it would just have to be a disrespect. It would just have to be like we just slam through this gap and then start making moves lower, right? So the only reason why we also had like here as well, we had some low resistance liquidity down here, but then this was high resistance. This was high resistance liquidity. It's inside of a key level. We swept out all these lows and we left this low. So this is a high resistance liquidity low, but this one up here was also high resistance, this high up here. So what I was just looking for was for market to open and manipulate and see what it was going to do. So cool, coming into 925, 930. So 930 opens and we immediately manipulate into this 15-minute for value gap. And at this point, there was like a, I think a 30-second or like a 15-second long here that presented itself. But again, I wasn't really too, like, I mean, in this kind of, I think right here as well, there was like a 30-second or 15-second long right here. But it just wasn't really that clean, in my opinion. I didn't really like it. And ES was also in like a pretty bad position. We were kind of just accumulating here on ES. So what happened was we ended up coming here and then this was much better again, as you can see. So we left these lows inside of this M15 for value gap. Cool. Why did I draw it that way? We left this low inside of this fair value gap. And then price generates liquidity higher. This is the thing. This is what I like. I love this because this market structure was good, right? So we had this high up here, and we generated this high up here as well. And then we instantly manipulate lower here. And at this point as well, ES also manipulated the accumulation zone in here. But it didn't come into, so what, this wasn't true manipulation, but this was really, really obvious to me. Because ES, we had an SMT as well. So because obviously ES didn't come into this gap, so we had an SMT with this low right here. This is like a 5-minute low, I think. Yeah, we had this SMT with this 5-minute low. We reswept this little accumulation kind of thing here inside of this gap. Very good manipulation. So at this point, if we were going to be bearish, I'd want to see us run through this gap. But again, I was leaning more bullish just because of the SMT and how we were generating liquidity here. We're generating liquidity towards my TP, so towards this draw, which was just pre-market highs. And inside this gap, that was like my draw for this trade. My draw was a lot higher, but again, I'm not going to hold to the full draw because, like, why would I do that? Could have made a lot of money if I did, but it's not what it's about. It's about getting your piece of the pie and getting out. So, cool. Yeah. So generated liquidity. Let me turn this off now. I don't need this. Generated liquidity at where I wanted to target for this trade. Stop hunt here as well. So this is a stop hunt with these lows here. After we made this little move higher, then we had a stop hunt. We had an SMT. We were rejecting out of a higher time frame key level, and we also had amazing draws above us too, right? That the market was inclined to go towards. And now look at, you can see, like, this is if we're going to be bearish, we're going to make moves lower, right? We're not going to displace higher. What do we do after running these stops? What do we do after making this stop hunt? Bang. Instant, like, just really, really strong displacement. We tap like this 1 minute first, and we respect it, and then the next candle has no hesitation whatsoever and immediately displaces right through it. So at this point, I was like, yeah, this is great. So I entered on the next candle here. Yeah, it was like, where was my entry? It was like right here, I think. Look around here. My stop was just at the body down here. It's just anywhere down here, because after this move, like, I would not expect us to be bearish, or not expect us to come anywhere near down here. If we would, like, I wouldn't even want to be in the trade anymore, and the idea of the trade would be invalid in my eyes. So perfect. So SMT, stop hunt, inside of a higher time frame key level, 930 manipulated. So we're also in a time discount here. We were below 930. We manipulated below 930, so we're in a time discount here as well. This was like 50% of the range as well. If you want to go to the 15-minute chart, we can see here of the current leg of price, which we were in. Sorry. This was like, it almost hit OTE. Like, I'm pretty sure it might have actually hit OTE. I don't know why I don't have it on this fib. I have it on the other fib that I use on Project X, but basically hit OTE, respected the range, immediate displacement after that stop hunt, and then I entered longs there. And my break even was just at this height right here. So I didn't want to see us go any higher than this. This was an A+ setup in my eyes. This was really, really clean. The only small risky thing about this is that Trump was speaking at the time, but that's fine. 6-7 TP as well, just to knock it on the head. And then I ended up going break even here, and boom, full TP. Now this, we ran really high up here, really, really high up here. And now the problems with this trade, so the wrong things about this trade, not even wrong things, but just kind of skeptical things about this trade, were that, one, this was really close. This was like, when I took this inversion, this was as the 945 candle was opening. So I could have potentially gotten manipulated, but just with this displacement that I seen right through this gap, I really had like very high conviction that that wasn't going to happen, right? Because usually before a higher time frame candle opens, like the 15-minute, we'll kind of mess around a bit, like maybe poke in some shitty highs, and then we'll make our move if we're gonna be moving off that time. But this was just instant displacement. Like, I expected nothing here, and in this leg of price as well, like, there was really nothing stopping us from going higher. There was no 5-minute gap. There was a 3-minute gap up here, which is where my break even point was at. And this was just overall really, really saucy. Like, this was a super, super clean trade. But again, yeah, the things wrong with it were that we didn't have true manipulation. So again, the 945, that was one technically wrong with it. But again, you're not going to have a perfect setup like ever. There's never like, it's very, very rare. You're going to have absolutely nothing wrong with your setup. Like you have to take on a little bit of risk when you take a trade. Like your setup, even if it's A plus, it's going to have something that could potentially make you lose in a sense. There's setups, of course, that don't sometimes, but that's very, very rare, very far and few in between. So yeah, 9:45, and then ES technically didn't manipulate at all. Like if we go to the AM session here, we can see at this point like ES was here, so ES technically didn't manipulate into any higher time frame key level at all. But what I did like was they both swept this low, so they both ran the stops. They both stop hunted at the same time, and they both immediately displaced at the same time as well. So that was super, super nice to see that. That was some good correlation. Good, like, basically the market telling me, okay, both of us are ready to move higher now. So get in. You know what I mean? So this was clean. And this was a good trade. Super, super clean. So yeah, those were the only two things wrong with it, is that ES didn't manipulate, and it was pretty close. It was 9:45 accurate. Everything else was pretty textbook. And you could also say we were also rejecting it at a higher time frame key level, but again, that's why I use that 15-minute as my condition. So I don't really, this is like kind of just redundant to me. And this was pre-market as well, so it's like, you know, meh. It's not really, it was kind of redundant to me. We actually had an SMT as well, like right here. So technically I could have, should have closed my trade here. But I was just so confident in this draw at bare minimum getting hit, because ES was also traveling towards this 1 hour unfilled up here. So what I said to myself in this moment, I was like, cool, if ES ends up hitting this hourly unfilled before NQ hits this, then I'll just close my position. But NQ ended up taking this high before that even happened. And SMT in a case like this, to me, it was just super like insignificant, right? Because we were clearly like displacing super high, and we wanted to move higher pretty badly. So an SMT against the higher time frame in a sense, because the higher time frame bias was clearly bullish here. Not clearly in a sense that you could use technical analysis to determine that it was clearly bullish, but what it was telling us, it was showing us that it was clearly bullish. So this SMT was sort of insignificant to me. And I was still really confident in this draw. So yeah, the only problem is as well, I actually under risked by mistake. I thought this stop loss was bigger than it was, and I ended up entering the trade with 2 micros instead of 4. Negative aura. I entered the trade with 2 micros instead of 4. Yikes. Which is whatever, it doesn't matter. Doesn't bother me, it's just P&L. Who cares? I'm up like, I think, $267, 67 TP, and we're up $267 on the day on the funded on that. So that's good. Obviously, I should have put 4 micros on, so I'd be up around 500-ish. I don't know why I put. I don't know. In the moment, I just thought the stop loss was bigger than it was, and I also kind of miscalculated how much micros I would need to risk like 350 on this trade. Because I want to risk around 350, like kind of max. That's like that's what I'm just taking this funded slow, and once we can get our first payout or whatever it may be, then we'll start maybe risking 1%, build a bit of a buffer, yada yada yada. Obviously you don't need to rush things. I've learned from previous experience, especially on a funded account, if you try to rush things and think you're the shit, you really get humbled and you get badly shit on. So yeah, that's basically the trade for the day. In my opinion, super, super clean version. I think we might have had a few other things going on as well. I think we had a clean 15-minute continuation as well. I lied. Wow, we just absolutely pumped. Oh my god. And maybe 5-minute cont out of this. Maybe? No, that's not even, doesn't really look like a good, I mean, technically it's not bad, but okay, yeah, there's really nothing. So this is low-key traded of the day, in my opinion. If you targeted higher on this, fair enough, you have balls of steel. But yeah, wow, not even a 15-minute fuck, that's crazy. Just straight to the NWOG. Yeah, wow, straight to the new week opening up without any remorse for continuation. That was super, super bullish today. Very, very bullish. I think us being this bullish as well did have something got to do with Trump speaking today, because he was talking about Greenland and how he wasn't going to. He was basically saying super bullish things and super good, like good things in a sense, that he was like not going to take over, not going to try use force on Greenland, whatever. I'm not really too into the semantics of all of that now, but it was something along the. It was bullish news anyway. It was good news, you could say. So, yeah, that's gonna be it for today's trade recap. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Tell me if you ended up taking the same trade today. If you maybe took something else, whatever model. If you trade a different model, If you ended up taking something else, it's also awesome. Um, and yeah, if you want to talk to me personally or ask me any questions, my Discord user and Instagram and TikTok will all be in the bio there. So shoot me a DM, add me on Discord, whatever it may be, and I'll 100% add you back or DM you back and talk about trading. Well, if you guys have any questions or if you have any advice for me. So yeah, that's gonna be it for today's recap, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. I won't be able to trade tomorrow because I have an exam, which is just tragic with no paddock. So I might do a recap tomorrow anyway on what happens during the market. We'll see if I have enough time. I probably will, so stay tuned for that. And that's going to be it. So on the funded account today, we made 267 $267, which is cool. Should have made a little bit more because I did under risk, but it's whatever. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't bother me. So catch you guys in the next one. Peace.